Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market analysis volume 51. Again, we're going to give you a run through of our next week's predictions and take a look at what happened this week. So starting off with AUDUSD, because we do have a few pairs that we're going to discuss tomorrow, so they're highlighted in yellow, so just take a look on the screen on the right. But yeah, we'll skip a few and save them for tomorrow. But yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at AUDUSD. So what we was looking at last week was a potential move to the downside, and as you can see, price, it did have that drop off into the market. We were looking at price to go just a little bit higher, but obviously the predictions was still correct. Again, it's just a misjudgment, but eventually price did make that fall through to the downside. So again, I'm pretty happy with the analysis that we made. Again, it's just unfortunate that we didn't get in onto the pair. So looking out for this week, I'm still targeting this prior low. I'm just quite keen to understand exactly how this play in this range of the market will hold now. So ideally, I'll be looking at 0.8. And this low here, so 0.755. So within this range, I think that we could get a reversal just ever so slightly to get that push to the upside, and then have a move to the downside to then complete this low to take out something like that. So again, the ultimate move here is towards the downside. So either way, I will be looking for moves to take this low out and to see price move progressively lower. But again, we could expect price to make a retracement and to cover some potential moves to the upside, just as we've got this trend to the downside. Sometimes we can get a fake out, so meaning that this is a strong uptrend right now, and we've seen a break. So retail methods could be looking at this where price is looking to retest, but we get more of a push through, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to think through a retail mindset and see how it can get manipulated. So yeah, so that's why I'm thinking price could make a judgment. Price could make a push to the upside. So there is potential trades to be taken to the upside and then to the downside. So ideally, that's something that we could be anticipating for next week. So we'll take a look at CADJPY, because we'll save UJ for tomorrow. So yeah, ironically, this pair has just been continuously pushing up and up and up, and I have been saying for price to look for some sell-off opportunities. This is something that you need to take into consideration. That obviously not all of our analysis comes to fruition, but I am still waiting for this move of the downside to come to life at some point. Again, it's just something that a long-term vision. I'm thinking that this could happen. So I do have a range at 89, so 89 flat. I am looking at this point in the market as a very crucial level in the market. So what we could expect right now, as we're still seeing that momentum, we could get some area in the market, but it needs to have some sort of corrective move in the sense where we get an opposite direction. So we could have at some point this week, next week, or whatever time frame or period, but we will be expecting some sort of correction move to the downside. Again, this is something that you would have to take a part of, and we will obviously document it. But I'm going to use this level at the market as the last point of resort, in the sense that if we do get to this point in the market, I will be expecting a turnaround as something as major as like this. But yeah, let's just take it from a weekly perspective and a daily perspective, that ultimately we could expect price to make a push, a further continuation up higher, until we get that sell-off, and until we start to see more clear sell opportunities like which we did think that we saw last week here. Then we can be convinced that we are structurally shifting over. But as we can see, we have been recovering quite well. So if you did manage to take any sells here, you know, you were quite, you know, the market did give you that way for a little bit, but you know, there's still, it looks like there is still much more of an advance to the upside, and obviously I didn't take that into consideration. But yeah, looking forward to the market, I'm just taking a look at how, you know, what's been happening on over the last few months or so. So you know, if you have been following CADJPY, we've been stuck in this wedge pattern. We've had that huge breakout, and I think it only makes sense now looking back through this, you know, price action and structure, that it really does require some more, much more of a push to the upside because of all of the build up we've had here. I think it does look like it needs to have, you know, a strong move to the upside. So that's why I'm thinking, you know, we could get much more of an upside potential. So I think it's clear to say that my bias is towards the upside until we can get to somewhere around this range, or if we start to see some strong sell-off momentum, and it should be clear when this begins, because it could look something like this, maybe even a bit more longer. But again, this is all something that we can keep a look out in the future. So yeah, we'll take a look into Euro JPY. So for this pair, quite weirdly, it's actually followed exactly our you know, our bottom arrow. Then we had that reversal to the upside. So what I'm looking at for this pair is a potential move still towards the upside. So I'm going to leave this annotation. Okay, we can't really do that. Ultimately, I want to see price take out this high of the market. That's where I'm aiming for. So I want to see if price can stay and try and move above here. And then I want to see how price reacts. Again, this is what we spoke about last week. And it's good to see price making its move to the upside. So what will happen is we'll either get more continuations to the upside, or, which I think is a possible outcome, is a reversal, and we could get price to come to the downside, you know, potentially have a retracement on the downtrend and then push further to take out this low at 125, which is something that I'm targeting long term. But I don't think you know, personally, I won't be holding a trade from here to here. I'll be taking profits and securing partials along the way. It's something with my own trade management, of course. But obviously, you're free to do whatever you want in your own trade account. That's the beauty of trading. But yeah, so realistically, what I'm looking at is price to come to this high here. That's just above 130 flat. And I want to see how price responds to this level and this area in the market, because this is a lot of free space. So I will be looking for potential reversals or continuation. So we'll take a look at how price responds to that level, and we'll see how it all comes together. So moving on to NZDJPY. So let's take a look at this. So I've got some alerts set up already, as you can see. So looking at this here, so what I'm looking at for this is still much more of a drop to the downside. I was expecting price to continue, but obviously we've had a little retracement. So let's just get rid of some of these drawings. Let's get rid of this. But we can see that price is making a slight retracement to the upside. You know, maybe this is a consolidation area right now. That's why I've got some alerts set up here. But what we could be anticipating is, you know, price to break out to the downside, something like this, and then have a push to the upside, or we will have price to come to the upside and then break to the downside, and then have that push to the upside. So oh dear, let me get rid of that. Yeah, so something like this, you know, what we could see. So what I'm trying to give you guys is, you know, we'll have, you know, a different route for each, but ultimately the primary goal is to get to this upside goal. That's why I have an alert set here. But ideally I want to see price come to this high in the market, and to see if we can take some, if we can either one reject, like I was speaking on the other pair, either if we're gonna continue higher, or if we're going to push higher and then have an immediate sell-off, so something like that. But yeah, again, this is just a picture. I'm not saying price will exactly go to these points, but what I'm trying to say is we're in a consolidation phase. I've alerts based on the breakout. So if we get a break to the downside, I'll be looking for the retest and then that continuation lower. If we get a break to the upside, I'll be looking for a reversal here and push lower. So, and then potential move higher. So something to consider for that pair. We'll take a look at NZD, sorry, not NZD, AUDJPY, and I think it has a similar story. So what we were looking at again last week was a similar situation where we were expecting a downfall, but as you can see, price made a retracement. So we're still okay for price to make, move to the downside. So I'm quite confident that we could be still making a move lower. But yeah, let's take a look at what. Let me just draw this on here. So yeah, I'm looking at these two lower time frame lows and highs. So this being the high, this being the low. We can see that price is retracing, so we do technically have a lower time frame consolidation. So what I want to see happen here is either, again, it's just going to be a similar story with NZDJPY. So one, we'll either get a drop, push to the upside, then we get a continuation higher. Push to the upside and then a break to the downside. So let me draw that again. So this is what I'm thinking again. Remember, guys, obviously this doesn't have to happen exactly, but something that I'm considering. So we'll get a push to the upside and then a break to the downside and then a push to the upside. Or the other scenario is we'll get a break to the downside and then a retest and then a push lower and then a push higher. Okay. So this is something that can happen very microscopic or on a lower time frame, but ultimately this is something that just to be mindful. To be honest, I think this is a few moves in advanced in the sense that it would probably take about 2 weeks for this all to come to fruition. But I think I want to I just want to show you what I'm thinking for now. Obviously things can change, so that's why the full market analysis it's good to check in on the pairs that you're looking into, and it's something because my ideas can change all the time, and that's something that I don't always think bad of, because I think it's very good to always have a different opinion on the market as more price action shows towards us. So for example, last week we said that price is going to make more of a continuation up before a higher move, and obviously that did happen. And we always anticipate the next move, which is something that traders have to do all the time. So never get disheartened if your analysis doesn't play out. I think that's something that most traders, when they start or on their journey, they get disheartened, and don't really understand exactly why things are happening the way it is. It's the only way that you can take the market is to take it as it comes each day, and don't rush things. It's all going to come towards you, and it will all click together whenever you're ready for it. So that's how I see it in a way. So like I said before, this is a few moves in advance, but the main takeaway is we're in a consolidation. We're going to expect to break out to the upside or to the downside, and ideally we want to be taking this low here. So something just to consider there. And we're going to cover USD Chef tomorrow, and for the last pair for this week, USDCAD. So what I was looking out for last week was a possible move to the upside and a move to the downside. So we can start to see that there is some bullish action coming into play already. So again, my bias is still set on moves to the upside. There's something about this rejection candle that there is something to something that I'm being cautious of, and I'll explain a little in a second. So what I'm seeing here is a consolidation range. So what we could be seeing is price to come lower before we get the higher move to the upside. I think that is a possibility. Most likely this could happen, and the only reason why I'm saying that that could happen is purely based on that rejection candle, how strong it rejected. We do also have the downtrend that's also been broken multiple times, so that is something to consider. The other thing that could happen is that price just finds the power to push through, and we'll just get that continuation higher, and we'll get that aggressive push towards the upside. So that's something I want you to be mindful of, just in case it does happen. But if I was to pick, I'm going to be waiting for a move lower. If not, if we do get that price action to completely push through this consolidation phase, we simply can just wait for this retracement. Now, this retracement can happen anyway. It doesn't have to happen through this retest of this box. It can happen. It can happen. It can happen up here, and etc. Sorry, it's a bit bad, but yeah, I think you can understand what I'm saying. It can happen up here, and again, it really just depends where we can get that retest. It could happen on this resistance slash support, dynamic levels, or it can happen here. So yeah, you just have to be very mindful of the market and see how things are coping. And yeah, so that's pretty much where we stand for this week, and heading into next week. Obviously, I do hope this video did give you a bit of an insight. But yeah, we'll see exactly how things go and play out for next week. Of course, I do appreciate your time for watching, so if you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or you can reach out to me through my Instagram or my Telegram. So thank you very much for listening, guys, and we'll see you in tomorrow's videos, where we will discuss gold, Euro USD, NZD USD, UJ, and USD Chef. Thank you, guys.